the story of Sayyidina Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu an, a Sahabiyul Jalil, the mighty Sahabi, and how he began in his spiritual journey. He was one of the opponents of the Muslims in the days of their weakness in Makkah, and at the time of their greatest weakness, when many of the strong ones and many of the weak ones together had gone to Al-Habasha. He decided that it was time to put an end to this new risala once and for all. So he put on his sword and left his house, started striding, and everybody of course knew when Omar was about with his sword that something big was afoot. And one of his relatives stops him and says, "Ya Omar, where are you going?" And he said, "Uridu Muhammada, I want to go to that man Muhammad, alladhi farraqa Quraysha wa saffaha dinaha wa sakhita min alihatiha." I'm going to Muhammad, the one who laughs at our religion and who has divided Quraysh and who denies our gods. And the man says, "Perhaps you should look to your family first." "Why?" says Omar. "Your sister and her husband and some others, they have joined him." And at this his anger grows and he strides through the streets of Makkah until he comes to the place where his sister is. And she is Fatima bint al-Khattab radiallahu anha, one of the early converts. وَكَانَ يَخْتَلِفُ إِلَيْهَا خَبَّابْ ibn al-Arat يُقْرِئُهَا الْقُرْآنِ. Khabbab ibn al-Arat, one of the early Sahabis, used to go to her husband's house with relatives and would recite the Qur'an to her. Omar bangs on the door. He's heard something, he bangs on the door. They open. Khabbab hides. Wa Fatima radiallahu anha, she takes the piece of paper, or it was parchment in those days, on which the first verses of Surah Taha were written, and she hid it beneath her. And Omar is really angry by now. And he says, "Ma hadhihi al-haymana allati sami'tuha?" What's that mumbling that I heard? And she says, "We have joined Muhammad and we believe in him and his religion." And at this point Omar could not contain himself and he starts to attack her husband. And she tries to protect her husband. فَضَرَبَهَا وَشَجَّهَا, and he hit her and wounded her. And then when he saw the blood on her face, he starts to calm down. He recollects himself. This is family. And he says, "Show me the thing you were reading from." And Fatima radiallahu anha, his sister, says, "No, because you are impure and you worship idols. And this can be touched only by somebody who is pure." He's astonished. She orders him to go and take a ghusl, and he does it and comes back and looks at it. And then there's the amazing verses at the beginning of Taha. Taha, ma anzalna alayka al-Qur'ana litashqa illa tadhkiratan liman yakhsha tanzilan mimman khalaqa al-arda was-samawati al-ula ar-rahmanu 'ala al-'arshi istawa. And on, and it happens. As though the rain of heaven has descended on his heart and washed it clean. And he says, "Wallahi, ma ahsana hadha al-kalam wa ma akrama." He says, "By Allah, how beautiful is this speech and how noble." Khabbab comes out and he says, "Khabbab, take me to Muhammad." And so he goes with him and he's still got his sword with him. And they get to the house and he knocks on the door and they look through. Hamza is inside and the Holy Prophet and some Sahaba, and they see that it's Omar with his sword. The Holy Prophet gives instructions that he be let in, and he comes in and he says those words, "Ji'tu li'u'mina bika wa billah." I have come to believe in Allah and in you. وَبِالْأَمْرِ الَّذِي جِئْتَ بِهِ, and with the thing that you have brought. فَكَبَّرَ رَسُولُ اللَّهِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ وَكَبَّرَ أَصْحَابُهُ, and the Holy Prophet said, "Allahu Akbar," and his Sahaba said, "Allahu Akbar." And this was the beginning of his journey in Islam. SubhanAllah. At that time of weakness for the Muslims, they were given strength with Omar. After that time, because the Quraysh were afraid of Omar, they would not stop the Muslims from praying at the Kaaba.